World of Tankers, welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about 5 tanks that you need to get your hands on very, very soon. We're going to be focusing on tech tree tanks today. If you want me to make a video on the changes to collectors as well, let me know in the comments. But for those of you that haven't been paying attention to what's going on, Wargaming is rebalancing every single tier 10 in World of Tanks Blitz. And some for the better, some for the worse. Vehicles like the E50M and M48 Patton, which are clearly overcooked, are getting nerfed. But vehicles like the Progetto, which needed to be buffed in some way, are getting mega buffed. And in today's video, I'll be breaking into the 5 most important balance changes on the tech tree that you need to pay attention to. And if you don't have any of these tanks, you should probably start grinding them because they are going to be beasts pretty soon here. So we are going to start off with the British tier 10 tech tree heavy, the FE215B. The 215B is already in a very strong state. I've been having a blast playing in this vehicle, and the statistics show. I mean, I've been averaging 3,800 damage in this tank. That's crazy. It's such a good vehicle for ripping out damage. It's not the best for winning every game, but it's just a really fun tank in general. The changes that are happening to the 215B, first of all, it's gaining 50 hit points. Now, this vehicle already has a lot of health at 2,585 with just 1 sandbag. If you're running double sandbags, it's 2,650, which means with double sandbags and this hit point increase, you're going to have over 2,700 health on a 215B. That's actually crazy. But not only that, it's also getting a reload speed buff of around 0.19 seconds, which is almost a 100 damage per minute buff. So you're going to go up to almost 3,300 effective DPM in this vehicle next update, which will make it the highest DPM heavy in tier 10. So it's going to have crazy DPM, extra hit points, and hull and turret armor improvements. So in general, the 215B is still keeping all of its special capabilities. It's great mobility and consumables, but now it's going to have more hit points, more DPM, and more armor. I do seriously think that any skilled player who is sleeping on the 215B, you'll definitely want to get your hands on this vehicle. I do need to remind you, though, this is a skill-based tank, so if you're probably not very good at the game, and you know that about yourself, maybe don't go for this tank. It is still a tricky vehicle, so that's why it's first on our list. Now we are going to be talking about arguably one of the scariest tanks that's going to be in tier 10, and that is the E100, specifically with the 12.8. The E100 is going to be featuring an insane amount of DPM next update. The engine power is getting better. It's going from 1260 to 1330. It's getting a nerf in terms of its reverse speed, going from 15 to 12, but that's okay. It's a super heavy. You don't really need to reverse too much with this tank to begin with. But the main buffs are to the 128. First of all, its dispersion is getting a little bit better from 0.364 base to 0.355. So that means it's going to be actually pretty similar to the current dispersion because Refined Gun is getting slightly nerfed, but still, it's getting a dispersion buff. It's also getting an aiming time buff from 4.8 seconds to 4.6, so that's also nice. But the biggest buff is almost a half a second reload reduction on this gun. So if we see right now it's got a 9.46 second reload, next update, it's going to be sitting at a 9-second reload, just about. So if we do 60 divided by 9, that's going to give us a 6.66 reload, and then we multiply that by the 460 alpha. Next update, the E100 is going to have 3,050 DPM. That is almost it is 150 DPM buff to this tank. I mean, that is insane. 3,050 DPM is going to make this like the 3rd highest damage per minute tier 10 heavy. And it's a super heavy, and it's getting a buff to its aiming time and dispersion. I'm telling you that the 100 is going to be insane. It already is like crazy good with the 12.8, and I've been doing very well with it. But Wargaming deciding to buff it again, I think that it's going to pop off. My main reasoning to probably why they're buffing this gun again is because not many players are using the 12.8 and they're still sticking with the 15 centimeter. So that's why they're nerfing the 15 centimeters alpha a little bit and really trying to make the 12.8 a viable option. But trust me, it already was. So if you don't have the E100, you're going to want to get it. I would assume most of you already do though. So yeah, get ready because this thing's going to be insane. Another vehicle which is going to be really scary is the WZ121 that Wargaming is actually turning into a freaking beast. That is because the alpha damage is going from 420 to 440. Yeah, you heard that. This takes it of a 440 alpha gun, which is kind of wild, and it's going to allow this vehicle to be really, really scary. Not only that, but it's also going to feature reactive armor still, and it's getting armor and hull improvements. The 121 already has one of the strongest armor profiles for a medium, so if Wargaming's buffing it, and they're buffing the alpha, and keeping the tungsten, and reactive armor, yeah, this thing's gonna be scary. It's gonna be really, really scary. Now, there is a reduction in its reload, going from 8.72 to 9.2 seconds. That is about, what? How much of a reload reduction? We can pull out our calculator here. 9.2 and then subtract it from 8.72. So its reload's getting about half a second longer. So we can see what the DPM is going to be like next update. The current DPM of this vehicle with rammer is 3,220 with a 7.83 second reload. So if we do a 7.83 and we add 0.46, oh, we need to do 0.46, that's going to give us 8.29. So we do 60 divided by 8.29, and then we multiply that by 440 alpha, and it's 3,184 DPM. So it's only losing about, what, 40 DPM? It's not really a change in its damage per minute. And in return, you're gaining 20 more alpha. You're still keeping the tungsten. It's going to be crazy. The 121 is actually going to be crazy. Next, we have the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. The Rheinmetall Panzerwagen is a vehicle that is already a decent tank. I've made a couple of videos on it, and I really enjoy this vehicle. It's not the best in terms of dealing damage, but it's a good tank in terms of just giving your team the win. Well, next update, that's not going to be the case anymore. Next update, the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen is not only getting a 20-meter view range buff, which is going to give it the most view range in tier 10, especially because the 132 one is actually getting a view range nerf. It's also getting an alpha damage buff from 330 to 340. It's getting a reload time reduction from 7 seconds to 6.71, and it's getting more standard penetration. So if we take a look at the DPM right now, it's 3,153. That's already decent DPM. But as I said, it's getting an alpha buff and a reload reduction. So if we take that 6.28 second reload, and we take a look and see that it's getting about 0.3 seconds taken off, that means that you're going to be sitting at a 6-second reload next update. So if we do 60 divided by 6, we'll be sitting at 10 seconds, which means if we do 340, you're going to be sitting at 3,400 DPM next update. That is a 250 DPM buff. That is insane. And then when you pair that with the fact that this vehicle has tungsten and every special consumable, paired with the fact it also has every special mechanic, being tracer shells and adaptive concealment, it's basically going to allow the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen to be the next T100 LT. It's going to be insane. You're going to outspot everybody. You're going to keep them lit forever due to tracer shells. You're going to know when you're detected. Yeah, the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen is going to be a really, really scary tank. One vehicle which I almost forgot to add to the list, I'm actually remembering while talking about, is the Sheridan. I just want to add that I'm not sure if Wargaming is going to keep these changes on the Sheridan because of the massive amount of community outcry seeing the changes that Wargaming is making here. But the Sheridan is going to feature AP standard next update. It's also going to have tungsten. Do I need to say anything else? Like, what are we talking about, Wargaming? Why are we doing this? So the Sheridan is getting basically massively buffed next update, and a tungsten is going to give the vehicle 640 potential alpha while it is active, which is ridiculous. So if you don't have the Sheridan, you're definitely willing to get your hands on it. Like, the Sheridan is such a stupid tank already. It's literally the most brain-dead tier 10. And now that Wargaming's adding tungsten to it, like, I really hope they don't go through with these changes. I think that this is the dumbest change out of all the tier 10 changes. But there's one vehicle which I think might even be more dangerous than the Sheridan next update, and that is a vehicle that currently nobody gives a flying crap about, the Progetto Marat. This vehicle is going to be really scary. The Marat is going to be featuring 390 alpha damage. That already is crazy. 390 alpha damage. That's a 20 alpha buff. But it's getting better. It's also having a shell buff, a reload between shells buff. Sorry, my brain was dying there. So it's going from a 2.4 second interclip to a 2 second interclip. So it's getting more alpha and a faster dumping time. Potentially, that's around 800 damage in 2 seconds. Not to mention all of that, it's getting an engine power buff. Its reload time is only getting slightly nerfed from 15.34 to 15.82. So the reload is still going to be much faster due to the fact that the time between shells is about the same as the reload time nerf. So really, it's getting 20 more alpha, which is increasing the DPM. It's getting just so much more dangerous. It's also going to be getting a view range nerf and shell speed nerf like all the other mediums. But at the end of the day, Those buffs are going to turn the Marat into actually a tier 10 Brask. I mean, the Brask at tier 8 has a 2-second intro clip, and the Brask at tier 8 has an incredibly high alpha damage for what it is. And now the Marat is going to follow in those footsteps. It's going to have a really high alpha for a medium at tier 10, and it's got a double shot 2-second intro clip. Like, this thing's going to be really scary, and I think that players are sleeping on the Murat. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the list of the tanks that I think you should get your hands on with the balance changes upcoming this December. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you guys did, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.